Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ATK Pro Series, and more specifically, this is our Monday night incident report. And of course, we are reporting on yesterday's events where we had some of the most exciting racing we've seen in the ATK Pro Series. And I say that every time, but I think things are really hotting up, and the quality of the driving is just leveling up race by race. This weekend, not that many crazy incidents, but I'm sure the gentlemen that will join me today will have plenty to talk about because there are a couple. This time, of course, I'm joined by Marius Roberts and Wayne Riddell. We got Daniel Haynes here as well, and Jonathan Bentz. Marius Roberts, we had some offline banter going on there. I am once again rubbing my hands together with glee as we kick off the ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes-Benz incident report, which I know is one of your favorite nights of the week.
Yeah, look, I've decided to do what I always do and go in blind. I don't want to see the incidents beforehand, so you get a fresh take on it. But I was really disappointed to find out that Wayne and Jonathan left the one Pro-Am incident that we were bitching and moaning about. But I think they realized they want to try and keep the incident report down to 30 minutes and not 3 hours. But yeah. No, listen, just to echo what you said, brilliant pro race yesterday, like seriously on a different level. And even though we've got some incidents to discuss, Wayne and Jonathan always doing a great job in dealing with so many of them in race. So what ends up happening now is it's more of a learning process, and it's nice to get Daniel's input here as well. And the whole idea is to kind of turn every single one of our competitors into better racing drivers. So I always do look forward to Monday nights.
Wayne Riddell joined us as always, and the man with the task of wagging the proverbial finger. As they say, the judge's decision is final. Wayne, are we going to have some boxing and arguing tonight as usual?
Ernest, I wish I could say no, but unfortunately, I think we have a lucky packet full of surprises and controversy as always. But that was motorsport. Motorsport was always it was always filled with controversy. I mean, we know that motorsport started when Henry Ford built the second Model T Ford.
Exactly.
So yeah, controversy will always be around motorsport, one way or the other. But yeah, I think Jonathan's got a whole fistful of cards that he's ready to play with us tonight.
Jono, the man of the moment. But before we get to Jonathan, I've got Daniel Haynes over here. Daniel, you're going to give us some technical insights into what happened yesterday. I know you're quite new to the Pro Series, but so far, what are your thoughts on the caliber of racing? You've spent a lot of time in the sim world. What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, I've done 2 races, but both of them have been pretty clean, I think. I mean, the first one, the Pro-Am series, really surprised me. I think we might have a few more incidents in the Pro-Am series tonight because we had quite a few yesterday. I have to say, this incident report thing, I thought you guys were mad for doing it but then I've done one now. This is my second one, and actually I've really warmed to the idea because I think if drivers watch it in the spirit that's intended, it gives them a real insight into the stewards' process, their mindset, and how penalties are dished out and how fairly they are done, and they can learn from them going forward. So I actually have really warmed to the idea of the whole incident report. So we'll see how it goes, and also just to police Marius a little bit.
Jonathan, of course, today would not be possible without Motorsport South Africa, Kailawi Nainau, and Coach Dave Academy. And this is the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series. Jonathan, I'm going to hand it over to you because you're going to take us into our first incident of the night. Shall we get started?
Right, let's get going. I think tonight all our incidents taking place in Pro Division. No Pro-Am incidents here, unfortunately. Pro-Am incidents, we felt that there weren't enough learning moments from those, so we decided to show the ones that popped up during as well as after the race.
Yeah, there were a few post-race reports that we received that needed dealing with. So.
Yeah, so first up we go with Bellingham versus McCall. Lap 1. Okay, yeah, you see McCall Mercedes-Benz ATK Mercedes there, followed by Bellingham.
Is this a warm-up lap? Why is he going side to side right now?
Putting heat in his tires early in the race.
So yeah, that is after the race start, and it was dropped to us as a incident report, for unsafe driving.
But there's nobody near him though.
Well, this is the point now. So the reason why we have this, as Marius has said as well, that we you know,
There's a learning here.
yeah, there's something to be learned here. So at the Spa event, we did penalize somebody for weaving along the straight. But now we would like to highlight the difference between what happened at Spa and what is happening right here. At Spa, of course, the Lamborghini in question was weaving to break slip. Now, this incident here, you are seeing there is no attempt to break slip, there is no battle happening, and there are no cars in the vicinity. That was simply tire warming up, tire cleaning. We aren't sure of the exact circumstances, but there's no issue with this.
There's nothing here. The initial footage we looked at, it did look like a serious weave or a tire slip, a stream slip or an attempt to block. But once we got the helicopter view on this, I was satisfied. He was cleverly putting extra heat into his tires coming down to the bottom corner.
So this is a nothing burger.
That is a nothing burger. Yep.
Well, I mean, and also to be fair, I mean, yeah, sure he comes back, but it's, you know, if he wanted to show his nose, even though he's nowhere near the Bentley of Hall, he can also fully do that. You know what I mean? He wasn't blocking a move. So a lot of guys do that. So look at the spacing there. I mean, really? Did someone complain about that?
That's what I was about to say. Did someone actually put a protest about that?
We got a full report. We got supporting documentation.
Good gracious!
Yeah, it took half an hour of my life.
You know what's quite interesting? I mean, you actually go and watch in any fully fledged real racing. The Oaks do that off the restart all the time. When they restart after a safety car, you see it in Formula One. I mean, obviously, if you're not blocking a guy and weaving under braking, but they're on a flipping straight running down to a corner, so there's no issue. So, seriously, I don't know who the person is, but
we're not naming anything, but
no, but
I think it's important for us. It was important on two things. One, that the guys know that we take every single incident seriously. You send it to us, we will go through it. As much as it pains us, we will still do it. Number one. But number two, we do believe that there was a learning here so that people can understand the difference of a block and weave versus a tire warm. And this is for a whole audience. You know, let them learn there's a difference here.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to second incident. Okay, we're going to look at this one. This is with the PWSR drivers. They're having a little tussle. Kadile comes in and tags Olifant.
Kieran Patterson doing what he does. He had a fantastic race. Goes down the inside of Olifant there, gets the pass done. Kadile sees the gap, goes for the gap.
No, it was never a gap. We actually discussed this in live commentary, Daniel, and all of us were kind of going, no, that is a shocker. And we actually thought a drive-through penalty would have been okay. I wouldn't have gone, geez, what were you guys thinking as race control? Because it was actually so nowhere near. Look how far back he came from. Never going to make the corner. Just a brain fart, I think.
Yeah, I think if all the cars were driving at full speed, no overtaking, was happening there, everybody would have made that corner. But because the cars were tussling, it was up to Kadile there to just.
It's a great angle we've got here to see exactly what happened. I mean, he came from way back. And
way back
over the sausage curbs there. He lost it going over those curbs there.
But to be fair, I think as well, what he might have said is that because Olifant saw the move coming from Patterson, so he obviously didn't turn in. So in Kadile's mind, he's missed the apex. But I mean, he had to miss the apex because Patterson was there. That doesn't mean you've got a chance to go through. But have a look. Obviously, he hasn't turned in where he normally would because Patterson was there. So,
for what it's worth, I'm looking at my notes here. We actually wrote drive-through. That was our first penalty.
Then on stream straight away, drive-through.
So the panel sat and we debated it a little bit longer for another 2 or 3 laps. And for us, there was no ill intent here. Kadile said, "Here's a gap. Let me go for it." Oh shit! I'm losing the gap. It's diminishing. I'm in trouble. And so we changed it from a drive-through to a 50.
Did him hitting those curbs affect the verdict at all? Because once he hit those curbs, he was out of control of the vehicle.
He was out of control beforehand.
He was. No, he unfortunately was. He goes from pilot to passenger. Yeah. At this point, he can do nothing.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why, Ernest, that's why, look at the steering input. When he realized he'd actually outbraked himself, he actually turned tight to take to the sausage.
But the problem is that the sausage actually got him airborne, and he then got understeer.
Yeah, but he would he would still have clattered him
No,
all the
I
way.
agree. No, absolutely. There was contact was written all over it. You know, we ended up saying that the Japanese Air Force was looking for a new pilot.
Can I say, race control, with regard to Kadili, he's got a history of being a clean racer. You know, he's a gentleman among gentlemen over here. And does that factor in at all?
No, not at all. For me, I look at that chunk of tar, and that's it. I don't look at who he is, where he came from, where is he going. I don't look at any of that. And you guys are we'll have our debate a little bit later on tonight, but I have the same opinion for the back market. The onus is on the responsibility is with the person passing. It doesn't matter. So that's our approach here. We looked at the corner and the corner in itself. This particular circuit has got a turn 1, turn 2 combo very close together. And I think it's important that everybody understands we see turn 1 as turn 1 and turn 2 as turn 2. We don't see it as a combination. And as an official, you should never see it as a combination. You should never see it as one sets up the other. It must always be that chunk of tar, that corner.
So so this incident was dealt with in the race. So just to put the driver who reported it to mind at ease that it was dealt with in the race. So we can move on from that. Okay, now.
Sorry, can I just quickly talk on reporting? I really don't
know because I've got because talk about it in the next one because it's more appropriate in the next incident.
All right. Cool.
Now I'm excited.
Okay, next incident is with Olifant also involved in this one, and Sherritt is looking to get past.
Right on the back of Sherritt. Is there like a magnet on the back of Sherritt's car that with polarity up or something? I didn't see any contact there.
No, there was no contact there. So the race incident report is for brake check.
Okay. And it looked like the brake checking happened before the incident. Let's see.
Well, that's what he's saying. He had to turn out of it.
And little brake there, he lost the rear.
Yeah,
but sorry. I mean, is that not where you would brake for that corner anyway?
Yep.
Okay. Let me go through our process as race control. What we did here in this investigation today. We went through and we looked at the replay. We looked at Sherritt's lines and his brake points and his minimum speed through this apex, because that was the real issue. This first little brake that he does here was because he's defending and he is offline, so he needs to settle the car for the first apex. Second apex, so we were really looking at second apex in terms of the brake check catching Olifant out there. We found that Sherritt braked at exactly the same mark every single lap, and his minimum speed only varied by 2 or 3 kilometers per hour. So he wasn't even slower than normal in that corner. I think that there were some things that maybe caught Olifant out. For example, the Porsche is very good at entering a corner, i.e. higher speeds. The Mercedes in this case possibly not so.
Mercedes has ballast as well, didn't it?
60 kilograms on Sherritt's car there. So in terms of Sherritt's driving, we did everything 100%. We didn't find any ill intent there. And and this is where I get to the point, Wayne, where every single driver that is in this race has got this race replay file. They have all the data that all the race control have. I can tell you now, if Olifant had gone and looked at Sherritt's speeds and brake points before and after through the race, he wouldn't have had a leg to stand on to make this complaint in the first place. It was unnecessary to make this complaint.
I'm going to say to you and Wayne, thank you for being that bold and being that professional that you actually went through all the data. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to. Like, this would never happen in a real race. I can tell you now. Because at the end of the day, if he chose to run into that corner 15 kilometers slower or brake earlier, then drive around the outside of him. You understand, he didn't hit the brakes here, and that unsettles Oliphant's car at all. So for me, looking at it from the outside, first view, because we never saw this in the race, I'm going, no issue. What are you talking about? Because he's taken the turn, he's run his normal racing line, nothing looks out of sorts at all. So I can't believe that people would go and lodge a complaint about that, because in the real race, I understand in ACC it's a little bit difficult. A gentle little tap on his butt wouldn't have upset Sherritt at all then, and that's what would have happened in the real race world. But yeah, well done for going through and you're showing how committed you guys are to doing this thing professionally. But like seriously, you don't even need to go that far because it's that obvious.
For me, I was watching the critical thing is when you ride on board with Jared, his braking. That is such a tricky corner section. To corner 12, 13, 14 we're talking about. I did quite a few laps before the race. That is by far the hardest part of the track. He's on a different line to what he would usually be on because he's defending. He's trying to cover that inside line. Of course. And he's just covered the brake with his foot. I mean, I would have done exactly the same. I've done it loads of time. If you're not on your usual line, you just lose that confidence that you genuinely have on a flat corner. Just think, I just want to cover it just in case. Make sure I'm sorted. I'm going to make the apex.
That's what they call a confidence brake.
To be contrarian here, that previous brake, where he dabs the brakes there.
That is a confidence brake.
Okay,
so he's got a tiny touch on his onboard. You can see it's just a tiny touch. He's got red brake lights, so Oliver might think, oh, he's brake checking, but he's not. He's only about 10-15%. Here we go. You see it now.
Let's say that he was braking there. If that was deemed as a brake check, does that affect the outcome of what happens in the next corner?
Yes. Can I talk to that a little bit?
So if assuming that was a brake check, okay.
If you look at the helicam view of this, there's almost 3 phases to this series of corners. And there's a contributing factor to almost every one. Let's look at the third phase of the last one first. I don't know what happened here to Leslie Oliphant, but things just got out of hand for him, and I don't know why. Because for some reason, he just checks out left.
He lost the back end.
Correct. Over here, Sherritt is 60 kilos heavier, so his traditional brake markers will be a little bit earlier than normal because he has to slow the car down. He is definitely defending because of his heavy weight, so he's got Leslie Oliphant all over him. So he is definitely driving that car with his elbows wide open.
Yeah, okay. And he's right,
and there's no dispute there. The caution I have for Jordan here is just be careful you don't get yourself caught weaving. It was close, and I can tell you, Jonathan and I were at one stage we were on opposite ends of the spectrum on this debate, because here, watch this. Here's
that was just before.
There's a bit of a weave now. If you look at his wing mirrors,
he dabs the brakes.
Before the brakes, you see there's a bit of a weave happening here. I understand his intention, and he is definitely riding with his elbows open. But just this is a caution. This is all this is. Be careful. You could find yourself on the wrong side of the rule set, over defending.
Wayne, I see it a bit different. I see it a bit differently when you go on board, though, because I think that little brake check, you actually see he makes a little correction on the wheel, and if you have a look at that, what you thought was a direction change was actually once he braked, he actually had to stable the car again.
Yeah. This happened. All of this happened in a straight line before he gets to the dab on the brake.
Yeah. He's coming in a line that he's not familiar with, though, isn't he? It's affecting him quite right the whole way through here. He's not used to that line.
There's no go at Jordan here. I'm just cautioning him and everybody else watching this to say there's defending and then there's defending. And just be careful. It could all go wrong for you very quickly.
I've had to look at a brake check in a Assetto Corsa race before, but it is blatant. It is full on. You go on board, you concede, and it's not just before a corner here. It is on a straight generally. It's full brakes and then off brakes. It's very obvious.
I see what you've picked up there. Is he almost saw Leslie having a run at the outside. He positioned his car in the middle of the track, deciding, waiting to see which way Leslie's going to go before he decides. And then when he saw Leslie on the outside, he just positioned his car a little bit to the left. So he's actually, it's a good point, Wayne, but it's like he literally has made that car a Bentley. He's put it in the middle of the track.
Absolutely. And all I'm saying, there's nothing wrong here. Just as very close to the sun. That's all I'm saying.
So what I'm seeing on the chat is a lot of guys are saying, JC Krobler, for example, who has run with ballast, is saying that he did the same thing there, little dab on the brakes there. What we're seeing from Sherrod is he's not lifting off the gas at all. He's flat on the gas and pushing down on the brakes. Some of the other guys are saying that they don't have to brake at all there and have never had to brake at all there. What do you guys say to that?
I agree. Listen, I agree with all of it. Well, that's why I'm saying this is not a go at Jordan at all. What I am saying is that he had a series of contributing factors. There's 3 phases here to this whole thing. The first one is that he's arriving there with a very heavy car, which he's having to make.
He's quite damaged as well. He's quite damaged as well at this stage.
He would have sustained some damage prior to this. All I'm saying is that this is as acceptable as it's going to get. And for me, everything is fine. It was just a little bit of that left-right weave before the trail brake. And listen, I've raced. Trail braking helps sometimes just to settle the car, and it helps to turn it. So there's nothing wrong with it. And if you look at the onboard telemetry, he's done the trail brake correct. He's done everything right here. This little weave though, just before, and as Mario says, he had wing mirrors were full, rear view mirrors were full of car. Excuse me. And he just wasn't too sure who flinches first. And unfortunately for Sherrod, he flinched first, which just created the weave,
So
the change of direction. That's all.
So with regard to, we were talking about the same piece of tar happening earlier on, and I've been in situations like this where I've had fisticuffs two corners before, an incident happens later on, and then it's not valid in the argument. What about the fact that Oliphant suspects that, or puts forward that Sherrod was weaving before him for, let's say, a few laps before as well?
He didn't, because we looked at that as well. As diligent as we were, I know it pisses Marius off sometimes.
No, it doesn't. Your diligence is brilliant, because it just shows that you guys don't just rock up here and talk a bit of cuck. You've actually gone and put in all the effort, and that is what you would do in real racing. It's no different here. So no disrespect. I'm just saying sometimes it's so obvious you don't even need to be that wrong. But I guess because the guys like to vent in the Discord chat and it's just nice to just give them the toffee and tell them, actually, we have looked at everything.
Marius, it's also about, for us, this was always a learning. This evening on a Monday night was always about a learning. It wasn't just about the decision. It's about people understanding what goes on in our heads as the stewards. So they are learning as to how we think and how we deliberate and what we look for as a clinical approach. And other drivers can say, well, I must learn from that, because I could get caught out by trying to do the same thing. And that's really
Oliphant might feel aggrieved, but I mean, you've got 5 guys here. Okay, 2 stewards. So we've got 3 commentators that are neutral in all respects. I think we're all agreed there that that's not a penalty in any stretch.
No, that's not. Unfortunately, sorry, Leslie.
I think if I had my way, and if it wasn't for this race incident report needing to be on a Monday night, I would actually close incident reports until Monday, so that drivers have a chance to just step away, sleep on it. Because I feel like this incident is reported on a bit of the post-race anger that you'd feel where you'd feel aggrieved. So it's just a point as well to make that all the data is there. If you go a couple laps before, a couple laps after, see where the car brakes, what his minimum speeds are in that corner that you suspect him of, you'll be able to come to the same conclusion that we do.
So to be clear, one last thing from me, the initial brake before the incident, before the spin, was that a brake check, yes or no?
No, it wasn't. No. It was what we call in motorsport a trail brake. He was trying to settle the car down, and by touching the brakes while you got your foot on the accelerator, it also helps turn the corner. And that particular corner is just a little light. It's just a light touch.
It's a confidence brake, like you said, because he's on the inside line.
He's on the wrong line.
He's just making sure.
And he didn't slow the car down because he was still flat on the gas.
I just want to state that the report we received initially, because we never saw this in game, the report we received was there was brake checking and weaving, and so guess what? It's all of those things, but in 3 different phases. It was not a brake check and a weave that caused Leslie Oliphant to check out the corner left.
Can I ask you guys something else? That onboard shot now with Leslie, he was in 6th gear. It went from 6th to neutral to 4th, just before he lost the rear. No, it shows the neutral going down. Is he able to double grab on the downshift? Because I still don't understand how he lost the rear end yet.
He lost it because he was on. Look at, he was 100% brakes on the corner, and he had steering lock on. So you're going to lose it.
Well, that's my point. So for me, it feels more like he was aggrieved by that mistake, because whatever happened, what happened there. There, you have a look. So I don't know if he missed. Are you able in a set of course to go from 6th to 4th?
Yeah, well, you just drop down 2 gears really quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, that in itself is going to unsettle the car.
Yeah, I mean, he spun it on his own at the end, as far as I'm concerned, really.
Dirty air, everything. Okay, so let's move on to...
Can I speak about reporting now, please?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I have a abundant... Guys, this is a lesson to everybody. I don't need a guy in 21st place writing me reports about what happened in 10th place.
Yeah.
Okay? I viewed it today. It's the last time. You want to write an incident report, you write it where you have a front row seat or you are involved. I don't want to hear and see a guy who's 20th or 21st or 22nd in the race, and he's writing me a long ass report about what happened in 8th and 9th place or 9th and 10th place. No more. That stuff I'm chucking out.
Copy that.
Yeah, no, listen.
I think that's pretty obvious, to be fair. I mean, how can you have a say on something you had no involvement with?
Well, I had essays and reams of bloody footage I had to go through today.
Wayne, sometimes I just want to take all these oaks and just take them down to the track and put them in a car and let them go proper. And then sort things out, because then they realize things like that.
They have to pay for the damage, Marius.
I promise you, and that is right, because they will shut up very fast. And also, they see each other face to face. So you end up resolving your stuff very quickly, because it's easy to bitch and moan and get involved in stuff that doesn't involve you, or does, when you are doing it on a chat. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we will go into the last event for the night, and this one is back to lap 1, turn 1, the show everybody's been looking forward to, the incident that almost called the safety car.
Oh man, I hate to see that. Ping pong. Oh no, who's getting ping ponged over there?
Can I just say, listen, it's the lightest of touches, but the impact that it had is massive. Yeah.
Okay, so we did investigate this during the race, and as a result, Bellingham got a drive-through penalty for that. I personally must just state that we are always very strict on lap 1, turn 1. No matter what the incident is, you're going to get a drive-through. I know a lot of guys have come at me and said, yeah, but drive-through was too hectic for this one. It's going to happen drive-through whether it was, just spinning one car or spinning 5 cars.
Yeah.
So
that little light tap destroyed 5 or 6 guys racing.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It was so light, but the impact of it was massive. Look, I do want to just pick up on something. Jordan
went on the outside.
He had no wheels on the track. Check it.
Hold on, we're having.
Let us finish talking.
Sorry. I just see stuff. I've got my glasses on.
So do we.
Okay. So when we investigated this, we did not see this incident that was reported where Jordan goes around the outside. Okay, we saw that Jordan went around the outside. We dealt with that incident as the incident in the race. Yeah. But now there is a second incident that came about after the race, which we feel has validity in investigation. Absolutely.
Actual turn 1,
yeah. So here you're looking at Jordan, and then he cuts across turn 1, no wheels on track, and gains advantage.
Yeah, but he goes over the rumble strip, so...
Yep.
Yeah, but people did that the entire race. I'm not being funny, and it was part of the off-track of the game. I don't think that's what it is.
So that corner, you can cut it quite a bit without the game complaining, but the way Jordan did it there was definitely...
Well, then you've got to.
Then you'd have to go through the whole race and look at everyone else that cut that corner, which would be a lot.
He would have got an in-game penalty.
No, he won't.
No, he won't.
No, he won't. Because
he would have got a warning.
But hang on,
warning. I mean, yeah.
No, but you know what's happening. If you do that, go and have a look on that front-on shot. Jason Abschmeier did the exact same thing. So a lot of guys through this corner picked the exact same line going through.
They had,
have a look.
go have a look. They had 2 wheels on the inside of the white, 2 wheels on the outside.
Yeah, but the game does off tracks for you, as in he would have got a warning for that, and he would have lost one of his opportunities for the rest of the race to make another sort of error, and he's used those up. So, I mean, you can't. Otherwise, you turn the game off tracks off, and then you release it afterwards, which is
So what we need to understand here is that race control does not have eyes on every single corner in every single car. And, so like you say, we cannot go and now watch every single car doing that corner on every single lap. But where it is key is where you gain advantage from it. I.e., if you overtake somebody like that, that guy can be feeling very aggrieved and may lodge an incident report for that guy gaining advantage by cutting that corner.
That guy is smelling it.
Well, think about Verstappen giving that position back to Hamilton because he made the pass off track. So it's very similar. But have a look at Abschmeier in the background. Watch, they actually picked the exact same line. Check, he's also right off of there. There he is. There's the Porsche
he doesn't
behind.
gain advantage from it.
No, I get that. So I think that is what you need to emphasize here, is the advantage that is gained versus picking the line. And to be fair to Eldor, that would have arrived in his blind spot very quickly because I don't think he expected to see Sherrod there at all.
No, he didn't.
So Jordan's actually put himself in a dangerous position. That's my feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, we are not happy with the fact that he gained advantage from taking such a heavy cut. So we consider. Okay, now it
I don't
gets
think you
messy.
can do anything about. I would be upset if I was him if you get a penalty for that.
I'm kind of with
game
Daniel on
does
this one. But having said that, this is the opening lap, and I'm sure we have to take that into account as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is where it gets messy, though.
Oh, but Wayne and Jonathan, if he took avoiding action, no problem. Like if he took to the road to avoid an incident,
I agree.
And then there's no issue. But over here, it's clearly I'm making a move. The problem is, like, how do you say sorry to Elder? Because looking at that on first view, you're going to think, oh, he made a tap, it's turn 1, we've told them it's a drive-through. But Jordan has basically put himself in a pretty crap position, and the impact on that. So it's like, hell, like, sorry, Elder, maybe we were wrong over here, and it needs to be a bit of a warning to Jordan.
Aldo gets pole position at the next race.
No. Hold on. I've got more to this, man. Hold on. You're only on chapter 4. There's a couple more chapters to the story. So, look, at the end of the day, I've been telling you guys, we deal with the tar. That section, that piece of tar. That's a turn 1, he has turn 2. Aldo was given a penalty for tagging a fellow competitor in turn 2. Beginning and end of the chapter. However, this here is a separate piece of tar, and this is Sherrod gaining advantage. He's cut the course to gain advantage. And therefore,
I'm going to disagree.
I'm glad you disagree. However,
you can't view them separately.
You have to.
You can't because by him cutting the corner in turn 1, put him in the position in turn 2. So we were talking about this off air earlier. Sometimes when you go and break things down, like in rugby and cricket, you go frame by frame.
You can kill it.
You've got to look at the lead up to it. So had Jordan not have cut the corner like he did, he wouldn't have arrived around the outside of Eldor unsuspectingly and put himself in there. Because basically he then closed the door because Eldor couldn't turn more left because there's a car piece inside. Have a look. Yeah.
Where? So let me tell you.
Where do you want him to?
No. Wait. Guys, don't get confused here. You need to understand that the only reason Bellingham got a penalty there is because of how deep he drifts into the corner.
Yeah, he ran a
There's
little
plenty of space.
Yeah, he did.
But look at how Sherrod came into view, though. Sherrod came into view very quickly, though. I mean, Sherrod would be
Dude, I'm with you, Ernest. If there's a car on his inside, you're asking him to be aware of the car on the inside and to leave him with space. He's left him with space. He's done nothing wrong there.
There's almost an entire car's width between him and Strader. So yes,
I want to see you park a car between that unless you're driving a bicycle. There's no ways you're going to park a car between it. But like guys also understand, you're asking a guy to leave space and to be aware of cars around him, and then basically he gets sideswiped in a blind spot, and the car arrives and cuts off his race.
Watch
Can I
the trajectories
continue?
of all three cars. We definitely gave the penalty based on the trajectory of the three cars. Sherrod is following the curve. The Lexus is following the curve. Aldo is running deep. That is the only reason he got the penalty.
That's not what this is about, guys. For me, I want to go to the next chapter. You guys are not letting me get to.
Hang on, but I'm just where is he running deep? He's
Oh my gosh, can you not see?
No, I actually can, because at the end of the day, there's also a car running up the inside. That guy, you don't know what his trajectory is going to be. You're looking at it on helicopter view and this view and that view. This is a guy sitting in a race car. He knows, he can feel there's a car on his inside and the sensor's telling him. He doesn't know that trajectory, so rather leave a bit of space. He's not deliberately running out wide.
No, he's not. None of this is deliberate. Listen, the thing is that the complaint is that Sherrod cut into the corner and took him out.
Well, I
Right?
agree with that.
He did not. Sherrod left enough space, and
Wait.
Sherrod followed the watch.
Okay. So
Look at
Sherrod, hang on. Okay, I don't know what you're seeing there, but
You're
Sherrod
saying
is coming.
Sherrod shouldn't be there, and I agree with you.
Exactly.
I agree with
Sherrod's line should be on the broken red and white arm line on the outside. He can't assume to turn in and take his racing line. There's a car there, so he
never
should have
know.
had his. He should have had his look there. How can he assume to take that line? He can't
Okay.
make that commitment.
Guys, this is where I want to continue with the other chapters. So, we had a look at this. We looked at the Constantino effect, and we wanted to overturn the drive-through penalty on Bellingham. However, Aldo Bellingham took it upon himself to go and sit in the pits. And if we want to do him the benefit and give him back his race time, we can do nothing with it because he chose to go and sit in the pits for half the race.
That's a
And therein
different
is the
story.
problem.
I mean, that
Correct.
is a different story.
But how does
Deal with it.
Jordan get penalized for this thing?
He doesn't.
Hold on, quiet. Hello?
Yeah.
No,
I feel like that if
I think
Aldo
we've
Bellingham
lost-
is
we've
if
lost
Aldo
Jonathan.
Bellingham is aggrieved on this one, how does Jordan get penalized?
Guys, I've lost Jonathan.
Yeah, no,
he's
I'm
back,
here,
he's back.
guys.
Okay.
Yes, like,
He's contemplating.
everybody's like talking
He's
over each
contemplating.
other. There's no space. No, guys, it's fair. I still stand by the penalty that we gave Aldo there, based on its own merits.
So do I.
Sherrod's incident, Sherrod gaining advantage is an incident completely different because
new.
all the drivers have got radar, all the drivers have got eyes and steering wheels.
yeah.
So my point is that Sherrod's incident and Aldo's incident are essentially separate in penalties given.
They are not.
I think you set a really dodgy precedent if
They
you
are
give
not.
Sarah a penalty for off tracks unless you start policing off track on every corner with every car, which is
Well,
you rely
what
on the
we
game
have-
to do it for you.
What we have done since Spa is that in the drivers' briefings, we tell the drivers that if they gain advantage by cutting track, even if the gate only gives them a warning and not a penalty for it, we will be able to penalize them for that.
Correct.
So we have been warning drivers about that. But we
You'll be
are
giving
relying.
away penalties every single lap at Donington Park if you do that for the chicane.
Yeah, but we are in those cases relying on drivers to report those incidents if they are agreed by those drivers because we don't have eyes on that.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is you cannot be fair. So you're relying on the game to do it. And I think overall the game does a very good job about it. So 100%,
For the most part, yes.
Sherrod would have had a warning for that, and he would have had to be careful for the rest of the race.
According to Sherrod, he said he didn't get a warning for that, and some of the drivers are saying that that is one of the lines.
Yeah, I saw cars go in that line all
So
night.
how does that?
Exactly.
If that's the case, if that is the line in that corner, what does that mean for the first lap? What does that mean for the outcome of this incident?
That's a good question.
Well,
I mean,
like
I
I
don't think
say,
you on purposely take that line to gain advantage because those sausage curbs unsettle the car so much.
The Mercedes-Benz does
I don't
well on
think
those
you
curves,
do
though.
gain a time advantage. That's not the quickest way through there.
No, well,
Look,
it
that's the quickest.
is
That's the
is at the
quickest way
start of
there.
the-
That's the
It
quickest.
is,
Yeah,
yeah, it is at the start of a race. You would
Absolutely.
never do that. You would never do that on a clear track. but through there, that is the quickest way, because look at the speed they're doing. They're hardly going. So that's why he can make that choice. But for me, it's still just I tell you, I just worry when you tell me that they're separate incidents, because had that not have happened, had that line not have been taken by Sheraton, he wasn't there, then that incident would never have happened. So I don't know how you can isolate them.
If you want to link them, you can then say, had Sheraton not taken the start, this whole incident would have happened.
No, but let's not be
I
silly.
watched the whole thing 20 times, and I think, to be quite fair, I would put this, if it wasn't for the fact that it's first corner and it's caused so much carnage and it's affected loads of other people's races, I'd have just said it was a racing incident, to be quite fair.
Agreed. I agree with you, Daniel.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. However, we've told everybody, including the briefing, take it easy. First lap, the first 2 corners. Everybody was walking. Sherrod, no problem to him. Oh, here's a gap. Let me just go for it. I'll just go right off track and let me gain an advantage. That's the issue, guys.
And also,
just decided.
Let's just add into that this is something that needs to be investigated because it was reported. That specific corner of Jordan cutting it to gain advantage.
Yep.
I think this is why we go and race at old circuits where they don't have all this crap. They don't have all this runoff. They don't have all these things. Now, these guys, that should have been grass, then he wouldn't have done that. But what they've done, they've put sausage curbs on there to encourage the guys not to go there. Now, for a guy on a bike, he will never take that line because he will be ending up in the grandstands. But, the minute you put 4 wheels over it, well, then suddenly that becomes something that you can play with. So the tricky thing here, and what Daniel was saying is so true, you kind of have to rely on the game to issue those sort of penalties. But in a race situation, I know you're looking at it and going, no penalty was issued in game, but he's gained advantage. Would I have done the same thing in a race? Well, probably. You know what I mean? In that moment, you would see the opportunity and you'd go for it.
Sure.
What I think it also does show is, for the steward's point of view, I've sat here, watched this for solidly the same crash for 10 minutes. We all have. Yep. And it's not cut and dry. Sometimes it's just not cut and dry. Yes. And you've got to try and do this in a live environment where there's a race still going on. You're still showing other incidents. How difficult that is to do. And how you might feel aggrieved. When you get a penalty against you, you can often feel aggrieved. How you react to that definitely shows you what sort of a man and driver you are. So I don't condone sitting in the pits for sure. I think that's just being a bit of a sort of loser, to be fair.
We've got to come to a conclusion on this one, guys. And I've got a question. What is Sherrod's repercussions for this incident?
Well, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, because and just I keep going back to Elder. Before he made contact with Jordan, check him touch the brakes here. So he's actually on the brakes trying to avoid stuff. So it's like, I do feel sorry for him. But what Daniel touched on there is like, we do these incidents and we can kind of fix things because, like you said, things happen fast. But don't go sit in the pits. I know we've brought in things about rage quitting, and we've had this in the last round as well, where a couple of oaks went and sat in the pits and dropped their lip. You're never going to do that in the real world, because I can promise you now the team manager is going to give you a clip around the air hole through the helmet. So rather just go and race, because it's amazing the stuff that happens. Who knows what we do in an incident report? Who knows what happens in the race?
Well, last round we had someone from the pits come third, didn't we?
100%.
You never know. And in this instance, the steward has said that they could have had an opportunity to reverse the penalty, but he didn't give them that opportunity, so he sort of lost out himself, really.
You can't win the lotto if you don't play, So
let's assume that we felt that we were maybe a bit harsh and we want to give back 45 seconds onto the race time. So we take a total race time, we reduce it by 45 seconds, and then wherever that person finished, he could move up the ladder by a fistful of places.
Yes.
And that could have, at the end of Kailami, could mean the difference of winning or being first loser.
So keep racing, guys. Don't rage. Sitting in the pits and raging is the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. It's a protest. You're sitting there in protest. You're just missing the placard and the toy. But at the end of the day, it's all there.
And I think what's important also to realize with these incident reports, this is a very difficult one. There are going to be multiple perspectives on this, and sometimes the drivers just aren't going to agree with some of the conclusions.
I can't remember if I said this on air or not, but at the end of the day, we agreed that we're not always going to agree, but the decision is final, and things happen, and you've got to suck it up and carry on and face the next race or face the next corner, but face it. Otherwise, don't race.
Yeah. Okay. So what I want to show you guys now is this is just a little quick insert, not anything that we are going to investigate and or debate on tonight, but it's the Pro-Am start. Okay. Now watch Webb and Van Zyl here. Exact situation, except only 2 cars wide. So Van Zyl in the blue car, Webb goes a little bit wide, and once again,
Lightest of touches.
yeah, once again, we called this one based on Webb's trajectory. He wasn't following the curve of the road. He was looking to get his nose in. Van Zyl left enough space, and it was the same tap and spin, and we gave a drive-through for that. We are consistent in our calls. So, yeah.
Just don't. Hang on. Rather don't. No, Jonathan. Rather don't use the trajectory thing, because following the curve, I'm never going to agree with you, because I don't know what curve.
When you're too wide in a road, when you're too wide in a road or 3 wide in a road, you follow the curve of the road.
Well, hang on. I agree with the penalty here, because he shouldn't have put his nose there, and he's in a position where he didn't have to come off the brakes, and that's what he did there. So had he have not come off the brakes, he would have made that corner and nothing would have happened. So I agree with the penalty. But he is not following the road. He just ran in a bit deep, trying to be cheeky, and put his nose there. Look at that. That's where he did the last lunge.
That's what I'm talking about. Trajectory.
Yeah, but it's just he would have made the corner. He's not going on a completely different path. So
definitely more cut and dry than that.
Very.
Well, folks, I think we've got to finish up soon. If only all of the decisions were that easy. Any final words from you, the steward, Mr. Riddell? Any final words from you on this one?
So look, I'm not going to debate the merits anymore, but we thought it would be good to show you guys our job is not easy. It really isn't. And I must just tell you that in the Pro-Am race, I had almost the reverse of the previous race, where the Pro-Am, we only had 1 incident and the Pro was 3 pages long. Yesterday's race was exactly the opposite. Where the Pro-Ams, we just had a fistful of problems to look through. However, I want to just stress, the one in the Pro-Am race, a competitor bumped the other one off. I forget the numbers right now. I wanted to say kudos to that guy, because what he did was he regained, pulled over, and allowed the other guy back into the position. So for us, that was well done. That's what we want. We want the guy to say, I made a mistake. Let me back off. Let the guy pass me. I'll pull him behind him. We live for another corner. And that, for me, I wanted to say kudos to that. I can't remember who the guy was, but that's something I wanted to just say, Ernest, well done to that guy.
Shame, and he sat there for a long time. We remember we still spoke about it in commentary. He actually really waited and waited, because it's like the guy couldn't find out how to start his car again.
He didn't know which direction he was and all the rest of it. So for me, I recognize it. I saw it, and I just wanted to say kudos to that.
Nice one.
Then I've got a little red telephone on my desk here, and apparently the weather's not that good in the UK for the next round. So let's see what happens.
Oh.
No, look, come on. I mean, give us news that's surprising. Ernest and I were laughing about it. And he actually...
It always rains in the UK. Can I just say? It's not just, sometimes you get a nice day.
I loved Ernest's chirp. Some of this day is on Wednesday.
Yeah, some of this year is on a Wednesday. And speaking of the UK...
We race on a Sunday is what you're saying. So it's gonna be
Daniel Haynes, any closing thoughts from you just before we go into the end of the night and also into the next round at Donington Park?
No, my only closing thoughts really is I think the stewards do an excellent job as a complete and utter neutral here, and I think guys just need to take it in the spirit in which it's given out and try and learn from it, and try and not sort of air your dirty laundry in public on chat and Discord. Maybe just keep it. If you want to have a chat to another driver, send them a PM, talk about it. I've always done that, and I think it's much more respectful to do it that way.
Thank you for that. Jonathan Bence, your side.
Yeah, I think there'll always be the disagreements, but in terms of what the stewards debate live, during the races and the conversation that goes on behind the scenes, I mean, just the discussions that Wayne and I had today, it goes very in depth, and we generally bat for both sides of the of the argument sometimes, just to
Careful how you say that, eh?
yeah. just to make sure that we covering all our bases. We make sure that we applying to the rule sets that we have, and we're making sure that we apply as well to the real life rule sets, if applicable. For example, what are track limits legitimately? Like Sherrod there had like maybe an inch or two of tire on the red and white.
Marius
That
Robert, any controversial or not controversial thoughts from you?
No, I love the work that Wayne and Jonathan do, and it's like it's a thankless task most of the time, because everyone wants to fight with you and argue with you, and like you look at the level of detail that they go into with the decisions, and I think it's important that the drivers understand that and appreciate this, that it's not just a bunch of folks sitting having a tequila and throwing some fines around, So I just think there's more positives than negatives that come out of everything that we do, and the level of racing has been exceptional, and I don't think it's going to be any different when we get to Donington. So I love stirring the pot, because I just think you end up getting some really interesting debate and banter out of it. But whether I agree with them or not, the decision is final, and that you can't disagree with.
Well, closing words there from Marius Roberts. Couldn't agree more. Sometimes we won't agree on certain things, and that's what it's about. Sometimes we got to dig deep and get to the truths, but we always stick to the rules, and we always try to come to the best possible conclusions here at the ATK Pro Series. My name is Ernest Page, joined by the full team tonight. This is the ATK Pro Series, powered by Mercedes-Benz Motorsport South Africa, Kyle Army 9 Hour, and Coach Dave Academy. We'll see you guys on the 20th at Donington Park. Till then, enjoy the rest of your practice races. And spectators, we'll see you guys at the start line.
It's the year. Go. Let's go. 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 It's the year. Go.